Hello and welcome to the channel. Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a video yet again about film. And I wanted to give my thoughts on this for a little while now, but I just wasn't sure when I was going to talk about it, so I figured now would be a good time to talk about it because I, once again, have been wanting to talk about this series for a little while now. And some of you might be rather surprised that I am making a video talking about this series, but the series I am, of course, talking about is Squid Game. This series has really been blowing up everywhere. Everyone's been hyping it up, and I've heard some arguments about the series being considered overrated. I think that's a fair thing to say about it, but for me personally, I actually like this series. I think it's pretty solid for the most part. Now, the first time I watched this series was with my GF, and she's into a lot of Korean dramas and stuff like that. And, you know, when I was watching this, I knew I was going to like it, but I actually did not expect myself to enjoy it as much as I did. I actually found myself being very intrigued for the most part. So basically, if you haven't seen this series yet and you would like to, I would suggest clicking away because, well, I might spoil a little bit of the plot. I won't spoil too much though, but yeah. But basically the plot is, basically the main character, he's somewhat of a gambler, and he gets invited over to the whole island where the Squid Game events mostly take place, and it has this sort of mysterious vibe to it, like this island and, you know, the locations that it's set in, like it has this weird, like, ambient vibe to it, like it seems like a really big island. And, you know, basically the main character, he meets up with all these other people and they work together and they play all these games and they try to win this bulk of cash, and then they find out that only one person can survive in the end. And the characters are kind of interesting as well. And, you know, the contestants, you know, I think the chemistry between all the contestants are kind of interesting, and, you know, as well as, you know, the soldiers that are in this island as well, you know, the ones who have the pink hoodies and the PlayStation helmets. I don't know if that's what they're called or if that's what they were going for, but I just call them PlayStation helmets because they do have the shapes of the PlayStation controller. There's a lot of surprising moments in this series, and I think what a lot of people consider to be the highlight of this series is episode 6. That episode definitely is emotional, considering what all happens, of course. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much of that in that episode or anything, but that episode is more on the emotional side of things. And once again, there is a lot of surprises to this series, and one thing that I do want to point out with this series, and this is something that I've noticed as a certified filmmaker myself, is that I've noticed that with every episode, it leaves you wanting to watch more. It leaves you wondering what is next to come, especially with the part where, you know, they're pulling the whole tug-of-war game. When they were playing that, like, it just leaves off at a cliffhanger there, and I'm just like, ugh, you know, and you just want to watch the next episode and watch what happens next. And that is one thing I do appreciate about this series, is like it keeps you wanting more. Even the very ending of this series as well, like it even leaves you wanting more. You know, it makes you want a season 2, you know, or a Squid Game 2, a sequel, whatever, you know, which, given how popular this series is, I'm sure we will eventually get a sequel. I know that, you know, I heard some things about, you know, the directors kind of being in denial about a part 2 or whatever, but I mean, come on. I mean, just think about how big this series is. There's no way you can come out with something this popular and, you know, not come out with a part 2. I mean, come on, you know? So I'm sure we will eventually see a continuation. But yeah, I actually like this series more than I expected. I think it's very solid. And when I first watched it, I actually didn't expect this series to be as big as it is. And I can see why it is what all the hype's about, for sure. I mean, I think it's very good. So if I were to give Squid Game a score, I would probably have to give it probably an 8.5 out of 10. Very strong film. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. Very interesting to watch. Very time consuming to watch too. Definitely takes up a lot of time. You know, it's about like 8 or 9 episodes. I actually don't remember the amount of episodes, but it's around that length. And each of them are about an hour or almost an hour long. So overall, I thought that this series, Squid Game, was very good. But that's just my opinion though. You don't have to agree with it. If you didn't like this film, that's totally fine with me. I personally enjoyed it, but that's my opinion though. If you think it's overhyped, again, that's your opinion, but I liked it all around. And I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't seen it already. So with that being said, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day and take care.